Cruising is seeing a huge boon, but how much will cruisers pay for it? And Royal Caribbean is getting rid of its Diamond Lounge, sort of. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. Carnival Corporation announced record earnings for the 2023 third quarter, with revenues hitting an all-time high of $6.9 billion with a B dollars. This will go a long way towards reducing the debt owed from all the loans taken out during the shutdown. Now, some people had questioned whether cruising would survive after the shutdown, but that wasn't something I was ever really concerned about. There are some small lines that didn't make it, but the major lines and corporations really weren't in too much danger once cruising resumed. Various companies have chosen to address those loan paybacks in different ways. Carnival has chosen to suspend future builds for the foreseeable future with no new ships on the horizon that are not already in the works, and they're focusing their profits into reducing their debt instead. Other lines are banking on the money put in towards those new ship builds, bringing in enough revenue to pay for the ships and still be able to help with loan payoffs. So think about Royal Caribbean, and they're building two huge new ships that are going to come out, both the Utopia and the Icon. Yes, these ships cost a lot to build. However, they're banking on the fact that they're going to draw in huge amounts of customers. They're charging more. The prices on the Icon people are already talking about are just over the top compared to previous builds. They're hoping that they can take that money, pay off the ships and the loans as well. And they're probably going to be able to do it. Both methods are working so far, and the fact that cruising and travel in general are up is also really helping. I'm not sure there are many ships out there that aren't sailing at capacity at this point. I was trying to rebook my MSC cruise around Norway this week to a different date due to itinerary changes by the line. Now, that's a whole other story that I will tell at the end of this video, so stick around for that. But there were very few staterooms left when I started checking alternate sailings, and the cruise isn't even for almost a year. And when I mean a few cabins, I mean like one on deck 10, one on deck 9. These ships are filling up a year in advance. Now, while Carnival Corporation has suspended future ship builds, they are still planning to put a lot of money into their new private destination, Celebration Key, which is scheduled to open in July of 25 at an estimated cost of $200 million. Just this week, the bookings open up for around 400 sailings during 2025 and 26 that will port at the new location in the Bahamas. Have you booked a cruise that stops at Celebration Key yet? Do you plan to? Drop a comment below. I haven't yet because I think we are going to try to branch out from Carnival for our next few cruises and try some other lines and new destinations. We already have that cruise booked on MSC, and we have one that's booked on Celebrity as well. And I'm hoping to try out Princess and Holland America soon too. Now, these increases in bookings and revenue are both good and bad for cruisers. Yes, the industry is stable and we aren't going to see our favorite lines go down, but this also means that lines are going to start increasing costs because they can. Supply and demand, baby. Carnival CEO Josh Weinstein stated that our book position for 2024 is further out than we have ever seen and at strong prices. With less remaining inventory to sell, despite a 5% increase in capacity, we are well positioned to drive pricing higher and deliver strong yield improvements in 2024. Good for stockholders, but cruisers are going to see prices go up. And I can guarantee you that won't be just for lines under the Carnival Corporation umbrella. I still think that cruising can be one of the most economical vacation choices out there. Not only do you get a lot with even the base fare on a budget line, but travel and vacation costs are going up, period. Have you booked a hotel lately? Every time I go to book a hotel prior to a cruise, the costs have gone up from the last time. It's getting outrageous. If you're into cruise news, don't forget to check out my daily news shorts for up-to-date news every evening. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. So no more Diamond Lounge on Royal Caribbean ships. Those with Diamond and Pinnacle loyalty levels on Royal Caribbean will no longer have a Diamond Lounge, as Royal Caribbean has announced a name change. So they're still having a lounge. It's in recognition of the line's logo and decades of history. The elite level area is now going to be called the Crown Lounge. Over the next few weeks, Diamond Lounges across the fleet are going to see that name change, but nothing about the lounge itself is actually changing. Guests are still going to receive benefits like complimentary continental breakfast, specialty coffees, evening appetizers, happy hour, dedicated concierge service, and that exclusive location that they can hang out in. If you are looking to spend some time in the Crown Lounge, you're going to need to earn yourself at least 80 Crown and Anchor loyalty points. Now, points are earned for each night sailed, with suites earning extra points. So if you're not booking in suites, you're looking at least 80 nights. Now, during the restart, like many other lines, Royal did offer some double points for booking cruises, which helped a lot of those loyal to Royal hit that longed for level just a little bit earlier than they might have before. Now, before I go, I promised I'd tell you more about the whole trouble I had with our cruise around Norway. We were booked on the new MSC Euribia for the end of September next year. And I wasn't super keen about sailing on a huge ship. I didn't really want to go on MSC. We had looked at doing the smaller lines. They get into different places, but it was the only itinerary that I could find in our price range that went to the two locations that I really wanted, Geiranger Fjord and Flaam. The only other one I found was a longer cruise on Royal Caribbean ship. I think it was like 13, 14 days, something like that. And we really didn't want to be gone that long, because you're not just gone for the cruise. You need to come in a couple days early, and you stay a couple days after to check out the embarkation and debarkation ports, stuff like that. It was going to mean we were gone for close to 3 weeks, and we just really didn't feel like we needed to do that. This is a once-in-a-lifetime cruise. We're really looking forward to this. And then I get an email a few months ago saying that our itinerary was changing, but it didn't affect the two ports that we had booked the sailing for. So it really wasn't worth changing our booking at that point. I mean, I wasn't super happy about the changes. We were losing some places. We lost one port that we were stopping at, and originally it wasn't a closed circuit cruise. We were doing different embarkation and debarkation ports, so that had changed. But then we got another email of a second change, and this one left out Geiranger Fjord. The entire reason we're sailing when we are is to visit this UNESCO World Heritage Site, because it's going to be shut down to cruising beginning in 2026. I don't know if you realize this, but the UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Norway are not going to allow cruise ships in those areas anymore, starting in 2026. And that means cruise ships are not going to be able to sail through the Geiranger Fjord, which is obviously gorgeous. They've made it a UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you want to see it, you need to get on a ship before 2026. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm going to assume that what's going to happen is you're going to have to book a excursion on maybe a sailboat or, some kind of ship that does only battery operated, because it's all about only zero emission ships can go into the fjord starting in 2026. And I can only imagine how expensive those excursions are going to be. So that's why we're trying to get on a cruise to Norway in 24 or 25. So the email I got said that we could change our itinerary to any ship on any sail date if we weren't happy with the changes. So I spoke to my travel agent, gave them a few alternate itineraries to look into. That was a whole nother issue, since MSC gave them the runaround at first, told them that we could only book for after our previously booked sail date, which is not what they said. So they had to go in and argue with them. And finally, they agreed to honor what they said in the email, but there really wasn't any other sailing with our original ports. Not all of them anyway. And even though I was able to find a couple that at least visited Flaam and Geiranger Fjord, the cost was way higher than what we had originally paid. Plus, we were missing out on two other ports. We lost Geiranger and Hellesylt. Geiranger was lost to a stop in Kiel, which was our original destination port on the original itinerary. And then Hellesylt has been replaced by Molde. And I looked, and there really isn't anything to do there, and almost apparently no cruise ships really stop there, but it seems that MSC has replaced a lot of their Hellesylt stops with the nearby Molde. I'm just hoping to find an excursion from there to Trollstigen, which was my original plan for Hellesylt. It's possible to get there. I just don't know that I'm going to be able to find an excursion that does it all wrapped up in one, or if I'm just going to have to try to do it on our own. That's a whole nother issue. I even looked at cruises in May of 25 to see if we booked further out, if the cost would be more affordable with ports that we wanted. Nope. So when I said earlier that costs were going up, I speak from experience. While booking a sailing as soon as it is available is almost always going to get you the best cost, with, the exception of a few last minute deals, even those for, way booked out 2 years in advance cruises are costing around 50% more than they were last year. Now we're getting less than we originally booked, and we're paying more for that privilege. So we get less, and we're paying more for it. And I'm really not happy about it. I've never really had any issues before with itinerary changes. So of course it would happen on this once in a lifetime cruise. The thing is that I know that they don't guarantee an itinerary, but I want to at least go on the itinerary I booked. And then if there's like a storm or something else means we can't stop at a port, whatever. I get that. That I understand. But changing the itinerary a year out is not acceptable to me. I'm not going to go on that cruise if I'm losing out on a port I really, really wanted to go on. Like, this whole thing has made me want to almost cancel the trip altogether. It was so stressful. And now I'm just really, really worried and leery that it's going to change again. Well, if you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something, consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that like button as well. It really does help our channel out. Why not stick around and check out this video on if Carnival cruisers are the worst cruisers, and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.